いずれ戻ったのだ。あれは紛れもなくベアトリーチェの生まれ変わり、記憶は戻りつつあった。我が魔術の儀式によってわずかずつではあるが記憶を取り戻しつつあった。
当主様。
ヘッド様。
驚くことじゃねえ。これまでのゲームの情報を並べりゃ導かれる。そのままの
There's no need to be surprised. If you had all the information like I do, it wouldn't be surprising at all. Oh, right, you don't.
上層のベアトリーチェはそれを指して、死んで逃れた魔女の魂を逃さず、そして記憶も力も封じられていると例えた。その解釈もこの推理なら筋が通る。
ウィラード様、親方様は偉大なる魔法の儀式にそれを否定することはできません。
忘れられない思い、そして金蔵がどれだけベアトリーチェという女を深く愛していたかも。忘れがたみにどういう愛情を注ぐかは人の勝手だ。育つほどに似ていくその姿に金蔵が、俺はそれを人間らしい感情だと思うぜ。
お前に我が愛が理解できるというのか。
理解する資格はねえ。だが否定する資格もね
え。ベアトリーチェ、私を許してくれ。
Kinzo sobbed quietly for a while, wiping away his tears. Because of love, he believed she was Beatrice reborn, and raised her that way. However, somewhere in his heart, he might have felt pangs of conscience, telling him that he might be forcing his emotions on someone who wasn't really Beatrice. Then the Beatrice of Kuadorian had an unexpected guest, Rosa. That woman simply couldn't believe that she was the Beatrice Kinzo desired. She couldn't stand the fact that she didn't understand who she was, and she wanted to escape to the outside world. Then she fell from the cliff and died.
現樹、表に出せぬその死を内々で処理した。そうしきったのは生きてる人間が死んだ人間への未練を断つ。それがでだからただれたんだ。
ベアトリーチェ、
おじい様。
あんたは愛人、いやベアトリーチェを二度失、その悲しみを表に出すことができず、それがやがてただれて狂気に変わった。それが晩年まで異常なまでのオカルト趣味に駆り立て。
ベアトリーチェ、ベアトリーチェ、なぜに二度までもお前の微笑みを、その美しい髪を、瞳を、私は二度も抱きしめながら、なぜに二度も死す。それほどまでに私を。
Now let it out, buddy, let it out. But now, Kinzo wasn't even trying to suppress his sobs. He sometimes scratched his head in anguish, sometimes faced the heavens like an opera singer. Kinzo yelled over and over again, repeating Beatrice's name. At that moment, there was a quiet sound of a door closing. When they turned around, she was already there. Kumasawa had appeared.
そこまでをご存知で、もうすべてをお話ししてもよろし。
そこまでを知るならこれ以上何も語ることなどないとも思うが。
いいえ、私はクアドリアンのベアトリーチェ様のお心を誰かに伝えねばと思ってまいりました。 そしてその資格を持つ人間が現れました。今こそ全てを包み隠さずお話しすべき時かと存じます。
熊沢さんは知っているのですか、ベアトリーチェのことを。
知ってるだろ。第4のゲームの時、連絡船の船長は熊沢が、おそらく熊沢は屋敷とクワドリアンの双方で異なる若い娘の世話だ。育児経験の豊富な熊沢はさぞ重宝されただろう。
さようでございます。乳母であったとおっしゃっていただいてもよろしいかと。
そんな、信じられない。本当にウィルさんの話は本当なんですか？
はい、事実でございます。ベアトリーチェ様のために島の反対側に建てられた秘密のクワドリアンの存在は真実でございます。
金蔵が正妻といつ結婚したかは知らねえ。当時すでに莫大な財産を持ち、六軒島を丸ごと買い取った金蔵は交わらぬ2つの屋敷を建てて、そこに2つの生活を両立させたんだ。
Kinzo's children had also been aware of Kinzo's clandestine eccentricities at the time. It probably hadn't been easy to maintain two separate lives. Moreover, Kinzo's wife had been suspicious and had sniffed around all the time.
親方様はお時間の許す限り、時にはご出張と偽られ、何日も滞在され。
I'm going on a business trip, and he just goes around that side of the.
ベアトリーチェ様との生活を大切になさいました。それは親子としての亡きベアトリーチェ様への深い愛を垣間見れる。
Yeah, heartwarming. That's.
それは亡きベアトリーと言っているようにも聞こえるな。
おや、そう聞こえたなら、もうベアトリーチェ様は父からの愛は、しかし時にご自身に理解できぬ愛を強いられていたことは否定できません。
Kumasawa's tone made it sound as though she was scolding Kinzo. As a mother who would raise many kids, Kumasawa had probably spotted that Kinzo's love was sometimes misplaced. However, the more she grew to look like her mother, the more distorted and twisted Kinzo's heart became. Where's this going? I don't like this. Because of his deep love, it grew very, very twisted. Oh no, oh no, oh no.
なじれ我が友よ、分かっておる。我が愛は永遠に不滅。なれどそれが間違った相手に注がれたことがあったの。私は認めねばならぬ。
おじい様、そんな。
イオン様、世の中のすべての人間、身に覚えがなくとも、その縁が人に絡みつき引き寄せるのでございます。
そんなおじい様。
Just as Kinzo had done, Leon also wiped away tears and stared down at the floor. Apparently the truth had been too much of a shock for the young successor to handle. He didn't. Don't tell me he did that. Don't tell me he did that.
親方様、もう語る時ではございません。
そうか、その時が来たか。
あんたが語らなきゃ何も真実は明らかにならない。
親方様、もはや知る権利と資格があるかと思います。
分かって今日という私の気まぐれな葬儀に今日まで話さなかったことを許せ。
After taking a deep breath, Kinzo finally lowered the hands that had been covering his face. Ugh. And looked at Will and Leon with those red eyes. Don't. Oh.
リオンも聞け。客人ウィラードと言ったか。
あ
あ。
この私が自らの口より真実を、お前はきっとベアトリーチェより使わされた
Quite the
天の
opposite. Well,
使いに
sent from heaven, sure, but
感謝する。
その機会を設けたのはどこぞの魔女だ。いや、 どっちも魔女には違いね。
お前が誰で私に機会を与えた。それで十分感謝するぞ、ウィラードとやら。
Kinzo slowly stood up and held out his right hand. He was offering to shake hands. Must have been Kinzo's way of expressing his gratitude. Will responded. Then the two hands gripped each other tightly in silence. When they did, a bright light poured out from the gap between the two hands. Nice setup, bud. Will felt as though something the size of a grain had burned itself into his palm. That was the power the burn castle had given him. The light grew brighter and brighter. However, it seemed that Kinzo and the others couldn't see it.
今こそ私がベアトリーチェ・カスティリオーニに出会ったのは
Castiglione.
終戦間際。
Okay.
彼女は海の向こうからやってきた。
Okay. Beatrice Castiglione. I can only assume Italian. With a name like Castiglione. I don't know what else I... Damn, okay. Bro, that's 100% Battler's face. Fuck you talking about here? Hey, hold up, hold up. Don't play me like that, I know that face. I know that face anywhere. That may be a different body and different hair, but
お前は金蔵なのか。
昔のおじい様です。写真で見たことがあります。
tell me this motherfucker always looked old.
これは一体
With his fucking white
ベル
ass
ン・
hair.
カステルのくれた感激無理に理解するな。
頭痛になら
分かってきたな。
At one time, Genji told Balor they looked like Kinzo in his youth. Yeah, sure enough, though the young Kinzo wasn't exactly the same as Balor, they looked very similar. Yeah, I see it.
改めて名乗ろう。
And I'm pretty sure that's Balor's voice actor.
私が後宮金蔵である。
Yep, 100%.
おじい様。
Even the voice seemed to resemble Balor somehow. Crazy. Clearly, Balor had inherited Kinzo's blood more thickly than any other.
私は後宮家など継ぎたくはなかった。私が当主に選ばれたのは運命のいたずらに過ぎぬのだ。
関東大震災で主だった者が死に絶え、分家筋の
そうです。おじい様は若くとも聡明な方で、当主にふさわしい貫禄を。
とんでもない。欲深な長老たちは互いの利益ばかりを主張し合い、まるで沈みゆく船で新しき船長は誰かと議論するような愚かさよ。
だからこそ本家の誰ともしがらみのないお前が突
すべてはこの足の指のせいだ。
Oh. Lovely.
足の指が一本ずつ足りなかったなら我が人生は全く異なるものになっていたであろう。
In the Shiromiya family, polydactyly was seen as a mark of good fortune. After all, many of the great ones in their family history had possessed it.
くだらぬ話を。長老どもは自分たちの誰も得をしない馬の骨であれば誰でも
たまたま分家筋に両足の指が6それでいいと決まったわけか。
そういうこと
Damn.
だ。
Sound decision making.
長老どもは自分たちの操り人形になるならどこの青二歳でもよかった。むしろ帝王学に無知な人間ほど好ましい。
おじい様。
リオン、お前は違う。お前は我が全てお前が生を受けた日よりそれはだからこそお前に銀の指輪を与え厳しく育ててきた。
Wait. That's why he gave you the silver ring and raised them. So are you telling me that,
そなたは誰にも恥じることのない立
はい。
操り人形も気楽なものじゃねえだろ。
As he pondered about where to begin, Kinzo laughed bitterly. It would probably bring back painful memories no matter where he started from.
あれは あまりに長い長い。それは私には岩に蒸す苔のような気の遠くなるほど長い長い死んだ時間。
Oh, is he not speaking these lines anymore? Shit, my bad. However, people are far more resilient than one would think. Though I spent so many days as though I had been killed, I was not killed. So I was forced to search for death on my own. Oh, sounds like fun. Before I realized it, I had reached an age at which the young would laugh at me if I tried to call myself young. Ah, 25. That dizzyingly long stretch of gray was left completely empty. It lasted for a full 20 years. In 20 years, a person can be born, find a purpose, and even become their own man with their own place in the world. Maybe in the 80s. In short, if one truly becomes a human only when they have become a working adult, I spent a period of time long enough to create a human, doing nothing but playing the part of those greedy elders' puppet. Ironically, though that time aged my body, it did not age my mind. I don't like where that's going. My mind alone was still as young as it had been during those rich, happy days before I was summoned to Odawara. And yet my body alone grew older and older. Eventually, the vast gap between the two almost reached incomprehensible levels, so I could hardly believe that the worn-out man in the mirror was really me. No, it really wasn't me. The head of the Ushiromiya family was just a name. It had no power. It didn't require that I have any independence. There was no need for me to get involved with anything. I was just a doll sitting there on the doll rack, gathering dust. I remember nothing but lazily flipping through Western books I liked, locking myself up inside my own world. Doing nothing but playing with roses and drinking terrible drinks. I was gonna think of a joke to make there, but like, nothing pops in my mind. And it lasted a full 20 years. Before I knew it, I suddenly had a wife I did not know. It wasn't any wife I had chosen, I see. It was the daughter of some noble family that the elders had chosen, forced on me for their own reasons. That did not matter to me. I did not love my wife, but neither did I dislike her. I just didn't care. I fathered a few children, but that wasn't out of love for my wife. They were just born before I knew it. That's all there was to it. None of it mattered. No, it's not quite right. Everything was decided by someone other than me, and I simply obeyed. That was the job of the Ushiromiya family head.
ああ、このまま自分は静かに殺されるなど。
信じられません。強胆なる名君と称えられたおじい様がそのような日々を送っていたなんて。
リオンよ、自ら生きぬ人生ほど希薄なのに、それはあっという間に過ぎ去るのだ。心せよ。
自ら生きる人生。
生きるってことは意志を持つということだ。殺された日々だったろうよ。
そうだ、私は生きたかった。いや、死にたかった。操り人形はどうすれば死ねる。
糸を断ち切ることです。
そうだ、それが死ぬことであり、生きることであり、解放だ。
Before I realized it, trouble was brewing in the world. World War II. The Pacific War. Japan had extended their war fronts too far to the east and west, and the tide of war was changing. Thanks to the influence of the elders, I was able to avoid conscription. Of course, it was not out of compassion for me. It was because I was their precious puppet. So the war never really felt that close to me. However, when I personally decided to abandon their protection, it was very easy. At that time, the Ushiromiya family had almost completely collapsed, and since the elders had apparently gathered enough of the scraps to last them the rest of their lives, they seemed to care little for what I did, now that they no longer had any use for me. So I realized that I had finally found my time to die. One by one, I cut the threads I was hanging from, and began to search for a place to end my life.
戦地で死を 求めよう。
同じ死ぬなら誰かの役に立つべきと思った。いや違う。
I was gonna say-
私には自らの命を絶つ気力さえなか
Yeah,
っ
I
た。
was gonna say, Kinzo didn't really strike me as a patriot.
もっともらしく死ねる理由が戦争。
おじい様は土木建築の知識がありましたので、海軍設営隊にて施設造成などに従事されたと聞いています。
とんだ誤算よ。何の取り柄もないと言っておけばすぐにも死ねる最前線へ送られたものを。
最前線に行かずに済んだの。
幸いと喜ぶ仲間もいた。私には逆だった。戦って死ぬという出来すぎた美酒の焼け酒が欲しかった。忘れられた島の上空を米軍の編隊は横切っていく。彼らは私のために爆弾一つどころか鉛玉の一つ。
おじい様はその日々の中でベアトリーチェに
そうだ、あれは海からやってきた。
どこであった？島と言ったが。
ここだよ。この島にやってきたのだ。
お前たちは六軒。
どういうことですか？おじい様が六軒島を買い取るまでは無事この島に日本軍の基地があったなどとは初耳です。
そうだな。あんなもんただの岩窟よ。私はその岩窟の番人だったのだ。
1944. Due to the honorable defeats at Saipan and Guam, Japan's absolute national defense zone strategy was in shambles. Where had the gallantry shown at Pearl Harbor gone? The old attackers were now the ones in the defensive. At that time, it was said that the last trump card for the Japanese military was a type of manned torpedo known as the Kaiten. It was said that these ultimate weapons, packed with 1.55 tons of explosives, were capable of sinking any kind of warship with a single blast. To strengthen homeland defense, the Navy drafted a plan to build a string of hidden bases from Hachijo Island to Yokosuka, all to house submarines loaded with Kaiten torpedoes.
八丈島に基地が作られたことは知っていました。しかしそれが六軒島にもあったなんて。
どこの間抜けがこんな何もない島に作ろうといい。一苦情の都合。バカバカしい。お上の考えることなどわからぬし、私にとってもどうでもいいことだった。
The Kaiten, which could finish off a large warship with a single strike, truly was an ultimate weapon. It was hoped that the presence of submarines capable of loading these weapons in the waters just off of Japan would allow for a powerful sea ambush as the final line of defense. So, to aid in the establishment of a base with absolute secrecy, the uninhabited island Orokenjima was raised as a possible candidate. An investigation of the island resulted in the discovery of a large cave in the cliffs. This was apparently deemed to be a suitable location for a submarine base.
お前はその基地の建設に関わったわけか。
建設？岩窟を掘り広げただけ。しかもその上、基地は未完成のまま放置されたのだから。
どうしてです？
当時の日本にそいつを詰めるほどの大型潜水艦は滑稽な話だ。潜水艦もないのに潜水艦基地など今さら。役人の無意味な箱物作りは今も昔も変わらぬわ。
The base on Hachijo Island was outfitted with Kaiten torpedoes and became a base for direct attacks, but Rokenjima was never supplied with any. Furthermore, the construction was eventually suspended, and a minimum number of men were stationed on the island, waiting for orders from above that never came. Could the fact that it was a hidden base actually have sealed our fate? The higher-ups had already completely forgotten about this useless and pointless cavern. We were nothing more than guards for a mere cave. We spent our days farming, fishing, and playing with the dirt, all the while gazing up at the American formations flying past. Some of our group were relieved at the prospects of the war ending before anyone remembered we were here, before any of us had to face a real battle. Of course, it was the opposite for me. I had hoped and hoped for the American troops to advance and kill me as soon as possible. Those days were empty and blank. Let us go back to the turning point in my life and fate. The time that Ushiromi Kinzo finally became truly alive. let's take it back. Let's go. Lord knows I wants to see it. Show me what you got, big boy.